Hello, everybody. Yes, it's our day off, and yes, we knew it. It's emergency pod time here on the DLLS Stars show alongside Craig Ludwig, which is probably over there. Then we have Sam Nessler. I'm Owen Newkirk. Ryan Vodder's our producer. Don't forget, I said at the end of our emergency pod yesterday, right? That was yesterday, right? Yeah. Make sure to hit the like button, watching here on YouTube, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I said it at the end of the show, and guess who the boss man said I didn't say it at the beginning. So got to make sure we say it, Luds, at both the beginning and the end of the show. And by bringing that conversation into the public, he's going to love me even more. Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. All right, guys. Hey, but seriously, this is the DLLS Stars Pod, and we have some breaking news for you. That's right. Michael Bunting, the forward who has most recently been playing his trade for the Nashville Predators, has been traded to the Dallas Stars. Per reports, the Stars have not made it official yet, but all the insiders that cover this, Elliot Friedman, Pierre LeBrun, you name it, saying Dallas has acquired Bunting from Nashville for a third-round pick. And the reporting is, Sam, this is a pick the Stars just got in the offseason.
Yeah, they always talk about the trade when you get something back and it's like, oh, is that really going to matter? They traded the pick they got for Mason Marchment to go to Seattle. So it's kind of funny that they're replacing a very similar hole in the lineup. You know, maybe you don't know where he'll play, but obviously needing some forward depth. And I think it's a good trade.
All right, Luds, instant reaction. Michael Bunting, now a Dallas Star. Does this check the boxes that you wanted for a middle six winger?
Why do you want me to say this? Why do you want
I want you.
Well, first off.
Because I already carved our boss, so it's your turn.
You come out and you say the Dallas Stars have not made it official yet. Have you not learned from Doug Armstrong and the St. Louis Blues until you throw something out there, you better dot your I's and cross your T's or whatever. You don't want to be going down that road. Anyway, I think that this to me is it's a depth kind of thing. The way I look at it, he's played on 4 teams, I think, in the last 3 years. So his last year of scoring 20 goals or whatever was in Toronto prior to the other 3 teams. So I look at this as being insurance. I'm not saying that he's not going to be in the lineup, but I look at this not like Tyler Myers, but it's insurance. It's an insurance policy. And here's what he is. He's a guy that works hard. He'll finish his checks. He can be an instigator at times. He skates well. And he has scored 20 goals in his career. And just because he's only got, I don't even know what he has now, 5, 6, 7 goals at most, probably in Nashville or somewhere in that neighborhood.
He's got 13.
13 this year, Luds.
Oh, he's on fire. Well, there you go. He's going to get 20 again then.
You weren't wrong, though. He had 5 last year, but he only played 18 games for Nashville. He had 14 for the Penguins last year, so technically he had 19 goals last season.
I think that what you look at with a guy like that, and you go back to when he played in Toronto and scored 20, whatever it was.
Yep,
they're a highly skilled team. I mean, we know the players that they have, so he's got the ability to do that. And maybe it's similar to a Sam Steele kind of guy. You know what I mean? Where if you're playing with those guys. Right now, Steele's got that connection with Matt Duchene. He's scoring a few goals. Maybe that's more what they're looking for out of him. But it'll be interesting to me to see who they're taking out of the lineup again. I don't see anything in the top 9. That's what I think. I don't think he's fitting into the top 9 anywhere. I don't know if you guys think he will, but I look at him as being part of that 4th line somewhere.
Well, before I want Sam to give us the rundown of his statistical, what he brings to the table. But before we do, you talk about coming out of the lineup. Robert Tiffin reporting. I haven't seen it anywhere else, Sam, and maybe you have, that Arttu Huru has been reassigned to the AHL to make room for this deal. He's the only one that there's a couple other players they could, but most of the guys, in fact, I was looking today to see if anybody was going to be put on waivers for the possibility that Roope Hintz is activated tomorrow. Now, technically, just to get in the minutia here, they said today, well, Sam, you were at practice. So why don't you tell everybody what they said about Hintz, and then I'll share my thought about it. What did Gully say today?
Yeah, Hintz skated today with the group. Really short practice, but he skated, so he was part of it. I think that's now 3 skates in a row that he's been part of the team with the morning skates that they took in Western Canada on that trip. He said, and I know is going to giggle, but he said he should play tomorrow.
Here's the news: is you won't hear me giggle because my thing's going to die.
Oh no! Plug it in.
So I think that he's probable is a good way to probably word it. That he's probable, should play tomorrow, but definitely plays on Sunday. But I think I'm trusting Robert. I didn't see it anywhere either, but we were jumping on this, so I actually didn't look at the Texas Stars transactions. But if that's the case, that's the most obvious one, as well as Capobianco were the two that you kind of figured would be part of these moves. So I think that's the case just to make a roster spot. But as Lud's talked about, they got a ton of guys now. They need to figure out this lineup.
So I'm looking at the AHL transaction page as we speak, and I do not see a Texas Stars transaction of it. But
okay.
Robert may have found out before it's actually been sent out.
Yep.
Just to get into one more detail of it, they could always leave Roope Hintz on IR tomorrow for their game against the Colorado Avalanche, so that Bunting could be on the active roster, and they could. And Tyler Myers, is who they acquired yesterday from Vancouver, is supposed to be in town for the morning skate. Yep. I know, Sam, you were on the Zoom call last night that he did. I listened to it this morning. He was great. We can talk about that more on our show tomorrow. But I believe that they have some options, but I was a little surprised knowing what they could do, that they didn't try to put Capobianco on waivers just for the flexibility of it, because as Lud's like to call him, Coco Cabana could still practice and play even if he has been on waivers or cleared, but it would give him the option. Now, unless I don't know transactions that I thought was pretty common, I don't believe they'll be able to make that tomorrow because he hasn't been placed on waivers. He'd have to wait one more day. So now, the third thing, and I want to get Ludz's take on Bunting a little bit more first, but we could also see another trade where a player was going out and another one, and then that all sorts itself out. But Ludz, you talked about Bunting as far as maybe being a fourth line guy. I think ideally, if your team is loaded, but right now, when we did our roster yesterday and we talked about it on the show, this is what it looks like if everyone's healthy. Rantanen and Hintz are back in there. You guys had sort of a debate of, is that Ritzkovian on that top line? Is it Sam Steele? Let's keep Maverick Bourque where we thought. They've kind of moved things around a bit. Could Bunting be in that sort of mix along with Ritzy Ritz to possibly be on one of those top 3 lines?
I don't see that. But
is that because you're holding out hope for another ad?
Lud still wants Panarin.
Again, he and there were a couple comments here which are very true. He is the guy that draws penalties, and so he's that the gnats around the fireplace, that you can't get rid of and get underneath your skin and that kind of stuff.
Right in with Ernie and Ritzkovian.
Well, what you want that guy to do is you want to be able to take your top guys and put them on the power play, and once you get everybody healthy. But I just don't know if we're going to see him in the top 6.
Well, Sam, I was going to ask you to do it, but I have it right in front of me. So just listen to the last few seasons for Michael Bunting, right? He was a Arizona Coyotes draft pick in the 4th rounder in 2014. He worked his way up through the AHL, played a cup of coffee in the ECHL with Rapid City, played OHL hockey for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. But then he sort of worked his way up, ended up getting moved to the Toronto Maple Leafs after the COVID season. And from 2021 to now, listen to these goal totals: 23, 23. Then he had 19 combined between Carolina and Pittsburgh, 19 last year, 13 in 61 games this year. This guy is a 20-goal scorer. Does that give you more in your bottom 6 than you have right now?
Yes, and I think the key, and Lutz, I said this to you yesterday, the key is not necessarily are they the prime guy for that spot. It's are they potentially, like Coleman was a perfect example. Blake Coleman was not your easy solution. Put him on the top line. It's amazing. But he had it in him. And that's more than Ritzkovian could be that. But right now he's not that with points, even though he hasn't had a ton of points because it's not really his game. Steele has had a little bit better going on lately, but usually that's not his game either. Those guys are more of the might get 10 for you if you're really happy. Bunting is more in the 15, could even get you 20, and just finish the 1 to 2 extra plays that, if he was with Wyatt and Miko or something like that, that is what allows you to do that. And as Lud said, he's a pest. He's really good, 200-foot game, gets in the along the wall, can win pucks along the wall, takes a little of that weight off of Miko or whoever might be on that line, draws penalties. He's annoying. And the two things the Stars have added so far, size, physicality, and annoying, are 3 attributes that they wanted to get better at this year. So I think the way of looking at it is same as Tyler Myers. Tyler Myers could be the answer against Thomas, or next to Thomas Harley. He might not be, but same goes with Bunting. He could be the answer in your top 6, whether that's first or second, but he might not be. But it's a higher ceiling than the ones they have right now.
So I have a text message from our buddy Robert, who we were just talking about. He believes on hints that, and he's right, there's no roster limit after the trade deadline. They just have a limited number of recalls that they can make from the AHL. But if they're cap compliant, and because of the Tyler Seguin money, they could activate hints from IR on Friday without having to worry about how many roster spots they have. I believe he may be right on that. I want to double check on that, just because
I'm not certain.
I always thought that
him,
23 active, but he may be right. There may be a little bit of a technical loophole that allows them to carry more than that. I saw today, and as many hockey fans might, that the Colorado Avalanche made an ad to Nicholas Waugh from Toronto, first-round pick, and I believe there was a fifth-round pick as part of it, Sam? Does that sound right?
Fifth, late.
First and fifth, a late fifth.
Yeah.
But a first.
Yep.
And that made me think, yes, he's the center. Nick Rod's a fine player, but I don't know if he really moves the needle for me. My real question is, do you think that that's what Calgary's looking for Blake Coleman? Are they looking for a first? And if that's the case, is Blake Coleman for the rest of this year and next year for a first worth it in your mind?
Yeah, and contender he is. And I'll tell you, he is on that list for Colorado. He's on Minnesota's list. I should say, his list, Blake's list. So, So there's two teams there that that you're gonna have to possibly go through. That I'm obviously a fan of Blake's, but I think when you get a Blake Coleman, especially on Colorado, it's very similar to Dallas and probably Minnesota too. I mean, all he does is stabilize what you're doing from the neutral zone back to your own net, and he can, probably in the playoffs, he can get you 6, 7, 8, 9 goals depending on who he's playing with. So he's reliable. He's one of those kind of guys that has all the details of the game, as we said the other night, or maybe that was yesterday. He knows they're done.
It all blends together.
It does. I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. So
I'm just trying to remember. Tyler Myers was acquired yesterday, right?
Yes.
And then we did a show yesterday, and now we have a day off, and we're doing this, and then we have the trade deadline tomorrow.
Nothing's gonna happen now.
Are we just going to do a recap show?
Yeah, I guess. One thing I will add to what Lutz is saying, I think the Waugh deal was important, but I also think with Coleman, his asking price was definitely too high in terms of
when you say his, you mean Calgary's asking price?
Calgary's asking price to get him, because as Lutz said, you look at someone like Waugh, that's a good player. But Blake Coleman brings way more. And I think the same goes for Bunting. I think it's still an upgrade if Coleman was to come because of his experience, because of his little higher offensive ceiling. But I think the asking price was too high. And then the other side of it is retention with him. Bunting's a UFA, so you don't have to worry about that at all.
Big AAV, $4.5 million.
Yeah, but obviously they only have to pay it for the rest of the season, so it's
Correct.
really easier. They don't have to worry about that next year. It doesn't affect Jason Robertson, all those other things. Whereas either the player or pick, whatever price was too high for Calgary for Coleman to come here, or they weren't willing to do any retention, and that doesn't really matter what you give away unless you're finding a way to get rid of a Labushkin or someone to shed some cap. So I think those two things weighed, and I'd be shocked now if Coleman was to find his way to Dallas.
So I would be surprised. I'm not going to go as far as say shocked, because I'm still bracing for, is Dallas going to pull off one more move?
Yeah.
Now, we kind of thought that 1 forward, 1 D would be enough.
It's
I'm
official.
happy with it. Oh, did they send out the
Stars
official?
have officially acquired Michael Bunting.
There you go. See, Luds, I just got the email myself. Michael Bunting, and they've loaned Artu Huru in a corresponding move to the AHL. That keeps them active roster compliant now as we head toward the deadline. He's listed at 6 feet, 186 pounds. That's not small. It's not Twin Towers giant like we saw with Myers and Bischel, but still not too shabby. Now, we've had some people talking about retention. There's been no retention here.
Yep.
Okay. One final thought for me is this is a great price, right? A third, fine. To me, first through third round picks are valuable. Anything below that really isn't. I mean, you never know. You might nail something in a late, snag a guy in the late rounds. But these days with scouting, they're not nearly as much as sometimes people. And even a third, like if you have a chance to win, fine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure with only one first round pick. Like if you look at the Stars draft pick summary, they don't have their first this year. They traded it away. They have next year's, the 2027, and they don't have one in 2028.
Yeah, it'll be all the way to 2029.
I just think that if they were going to use their first for 2027, it would have to be for a home run swing. And all due respect, I think Blake Coleman was going to be an excellent ad, but I don't know if they can part with a first so they have no first round picks over the next 3 seasons.
Yep. I agree. And I imagine that the players we've talked about were probably not as attractive to a team like Calgary than we thought. That's also the other part, because
you're talking about prospects
otherwise
or
there's a
something.
hockey trade there, right?
Yeah. Well, Luds, that leads me to one last question for you. Unless the Stars start putting some guys on waivers, they're going to have a lot of extra healthy bodies.
Yeah.
If they keep that many, depending on cap, salary cap and roster spots and all that, what does the coaching staff do when you have a bunch of guys not playing?
Called Black Aces. It's good to have bodies, right? I mean, so I don't know how it's going to work out with what they're. Have I got an echo going on here?
A little bit.
Not too bad.
Well, Sam, you're the one that has all the problems. How do I fix them?
I'm great now. Hey, I'm great at having the problems. I'm not great at fixing the problems.
Okay. Well, maybe it's because I got my backup plan here for when the other one blows up on me.
He's ready. I love it.
No, I think it's good to have. I mean, again, it's not costing you a lot. It's a guy that's an established player, and he can bring you what you need in your bottom 6. I think he's a bottom 6 guy. I'm not saying he's not going to play in the top 6, but I think that's where he is. So, worst case scenario, it's some insurance for you.
Just a quick quote for you guys from the official release. Jim Nill talking about Michael Bunting. He said, Michael is a tremendous addition to our roster. His goal-scoring ability mixed with physicality makes him extremely tough to play against. We are looking forward to seeing him on the ice in Dallas. And when you get a Jim Nill quote, as Sean has always said, that means that's an important add to the roster. If you don't get a quote, he's probably headed to the minors.
You're doomed.
There you have it. Thank you guys for carving out a few minutes here on our day off. We will be back tomorrow at 1:30 or earlier. Who knows if something else happens. We will be on for our trade deadline day show live at 1:30 Central Time right here on our DLLS Stars YouTube channel. We will also be doing a pre and post game show for a big showdown, 1 versus 2 in the division, conference, and league. Stars and Avalanche at American Airlines Center tomorrow night, 6:15 pregame show, games at 7, postgame show to follow. Big thank you to everybody for joining us. Craig Ludwig, Sam Nestler, I'm Owen Newkirk. Don't forget to like and subscribe here on YouTube. Very helpful. And in a quick summary, the Dallas Stars have acquired forward Michael Bunting from the Nashville Predators today, a perennial near or over 20-goal scorer acquired for a third-round pick in the 2026 draft, the same third-round pick the Stars used or received in the offseason trade, sending Mason Marchment to the Seattle Kraken. So there you have it. Appreciate your time, everybody. We will see you tomorrow or possibly sooner as we keep getting closer to the NHL trade deadline, which is at 2 o'clock Central tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.